Coming to you from our opulent and luxurious 4x8 refurbished room closet at the national headquarters in Indianapolis. With duct tape studio lights and a mic that you barely can hear, we hope to entertain and educate you. This is the Tango Alpha Lima podcast.
They call me crazy cause I'm facing all my giants. They try to scare me into thinking I can fight it. They tell me I should never even think of trying. But that's just me, I'm gonna live out in defiance.
Hello, and welcome back to the Tango Alpha Lima podcast. I am your host, Mark Seavey, Special Projects Counsel at the American Legion. I'm joined, as always, by Jeff Daly, Hollywood Post 43, Man of the Year, I guess. I don't know. What were you for? What was the award you won?
Oh, from Telma, the Chairperson Award. Yes.
Look at you, the Chairperson Award. And Ashley Garbolja Maldonado from our nation's capital in Washington, D.C., who is about to lose her husband for a week to me as my junior counselor at Boys State. I cannot wait. It'll be fun. And I'll bring him home relatively sober and well rested if it's possible. But how are you today?
Well, by the time this airs, you will have already been home and well rested.
No,
I've had words.
I will be home. I won't be well rested because then I've got another trip immediately thereafter. So
I'll just get him a lot of water and Pedialyte, and I'll just get him some of my Go Squeeze.
I need him for one thing and one thing only. He's got to keep them from burning the floor down that he's in charge of. Your husband will be in charge of one floor of students, kids, and I will be in charge of the upper floor. And the beauty of my taking the upper floor is that hopefully he will hear them skittering across the halls while I'm trying to sleep.
You know what, Mark? He's your problem that week, not mine. So you got to deal with it.
We're not going to have that many kids, so we should be all right. We'll take good care of it. All right, folks. Well, today we have our guest is going to be Tony Wells from USAA. Tony is the Chief Brand Officer at USAA. And under Tony's leadership, the brand team products, promotes, and advocates for the USAA brand, fulfilling the association's mission to ensure the financial security of its 13 million members within the military community. Tony's been with USAA for 3 years, leading various marketing functions. Prior to joining USAA, he served as the Chief Marketing Officer for Schneider Electric, ADT Security, and 24 Hour Fitness. He's a 35-year member of USAA, joining while a company commander in the Marines. He's also a graduate of the United States Naval Academy, as you will see. So we're really excited to talk to Tony, and we will be back with him here, or start with him in just 30 seconds.
So you were discharged with a 20% disability rating, but now you can't hear so well and need help. Contact an American Legion service officer. Service officers are free of charge, and they help all veterans. Find one near you with our online tool at legion.org/service officers.
All right, we are now joined by Tony Wells of USAA. Tony, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to come and spend a little time with us.
Thanks, Mark. It's good to be here and to talk a little bit about what's happening at the American Legion and USAA and our veteran population.
Great. So as is our usual custom here, we're going to let Ashley fire the first shot at you. So here you go.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here, Tony. Love USAA. I have to say, as a marketing and comms professional outside of this amazing co-host podcast, Legion, I love everything that you guys are doing. I have always been a fan of like the marketing between your ads and just all the above. So I'm going to ask you a marketing / I think appropriate Tony Wells question. So, how has the pandemic and social distancing measures affected your marketing at USAA and connecting with your target audience?
Great question there, Ashley. It's very interesting. I think it changed a lot of things for us. One, when the pandemic first, hit us, we're very, I think, fortunate that we're in the business of insurance. So we're in the business when something goes bump in the night, like we're well prepared for it. We were monitoring this situation as early as December. And so when we sent, almost 35,000 employees back home, from a marketing perspective, we were used to working together in an agile mindset with our agency of record. And we ended up having to really pivot our marketing. So we took some things out of market that we thought weren't relevant. We also developed some new messaging that we thought was going to answer the needs of our members in terms of what was important to them. How can I get help? What assistance can USAA provide me? What does this mean to my insurance or to my banking account? And so we put new messaging out, new commercials. We did it remotely. We had never even thought that we could do that before. People filmed it in their homes, employees, and that message was like, hey, USAA is here to help. Showing our MSRs, who are kind of our front line, the face of the brand. And it was, I think, very, very special to put together a TV spot. And we were the first in the industry 9 days after we kind of gave the creative brief, and doing it all remotely, saving money, and just a real team effort.
Excellent. And every time I see USAA, I just know it's synonymous with veterans, everything that you do. So I have to say that this past year, seeing some of the marketing and some of the things and the touch points of how you've been able to interact has been incredibly impressive. And I know what it is for at least our veteran community, because we know that you have our back. So I appreciate you. And I think Jeff wants to go next.
Is it me?
Oh.
It is you.
All right. So since Ashley started with marketing, I'm going to continue with marketing. I've been to one national convention so far, and your in-person booth is always, from what I hear, is always impressive. It certainly was left a big impression on me. And I still have the coin that I got there because it's beautiful and awesome, and I can't wait to see the next iteration of it. My question, though, is not about the in-person. Because you guys, I've witnessed firsthand that you do that really well. I've seen your ad in the magazine, and I've seen my friends in your ads because I'm out here in Hollywood, and I know all about that filming at home thing. But what are the big challenges right now in a digital first kind of atmosphere? And I know you already talked about like filming at home, but are there other challenges in digital first, considering how well you do in real life?
Yeah, so I think Jeff, when you're a digital only brand like USAA, you have to really work hard to try to personalize that experience so that it feels like it's you, and also humanize it. One of the things that's happening in USA is like, phone calls were how we built our unbelievable, I think, focus on members, folks picking up and being empathizing with the situation, trying to help a member solve it. And in a digital only world, sometimes expressing empathy is a little bit more difficult. I would also say that for our newer members, they have really, really high expectations. They are comparing our financial services digital experience with Uber or Amazon or all the other things that are out there. And so it raises the bar every day in terms of expectations of USA. And so we continue to look at every digital experience, seeing how we can take friction or pain out of it, make it easier and safer, because with financial services, you always have to be very mindful of security and fraud, because there's always bad actors. An executive here at USA said, "Evil never sleeps." So we want to make sure that we're protecting our members.
Well, I feel confident with my money over there at USAA, and my credit card over there with the USAA, my car insurance over there with the USAA. So you're doing a great job making me not worry about evil being up late at night. And I'm going to send it over to Mark Seavey.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go in a different direction. We've talked a lot about USAA, but we haven't really talked about Tony Wells. And I think, well, in reading your bio and reading some other things, I saw that you had been a basketball player in Washington, D.C., and then you had gone, obviously, to the Naval Academy. You're wearing the shirt. So I've always found it interesting. We had this debate on the podcast last week on whether we thought that, people who played football at the Navy Academy or basketball or whatever should be able to waive their service to go on and do other things. And Joe Cardona, my favorite football player right now from the Naval Academy. But can you tell us what attracted you to the Naval Academy? Now, I know you had some relatives that served, including an uncle who was a Marine, if I'm not mistaken. But can you talk a little bit about your upbringing and your experience, and then heading off to the Naval Academy?
Yeah, so I grew up in the Washington D.C. area. My grandfather had served in the Navy. I had a cousin that was a Montford Point Marine. So being in D.C., it is a military city. Like you see the Pentagon, Arlington, 8th and I, Marine Barracks. And so you get to see lots of military in action. So for me, the Naval Academy was not a foreign concept. And so I did play basketball probably about 30 pounds ago, and was very fortunate to be recruited by the Naval Academy. And, I had some other schools that were interested in me, but when I looked at the academic reputation of the Naval Academy, the fact that, you can serve your country, let's be honest, it's like, at the end of your college, there's a guaranteed job waiting for you. That also factored in when you're 17 years old. So it turned out to be a really great decision for me. One that, I talked to a lot of parents who have questions about service at the Academy. And, while I was there, very fortunate to play alongside, David Robinson, who's, the greatest player to ever kind of come out of a service academy. And so, my senior year, we went to the Elite Eight, lost to Duke, unfortunately. But it was a really great experience. And I know there's often a lot of discussion around athletics at the service academies, but I do really believe that it is a foundational element. It is a great training ground for this idea of esprit de corps and teamwork and playing for the name on the front of the jersey versus the name on the back of the jersey. And I wouldn't trade it. And I think athletics are a key component of a midshipman or cadet's life. So, the controversy or the discussion around athletes, like it always goes back. It kind of is like a pendulum. It goes back and forth. And like I said, I played alongside David Robinson, who did 2 years of active and then the rest reserve duty. And, my belief in this is that the Navy got so much out of David's contributing to the awareness of service. And he's been just a poster child for how you do it. He's just a class act. And he, even to this day, I think supports Navy recruiting. So, there's always a trade-off in these discussions.
But you said you had gained 30 pounds since then. Well, I will see you and raise you quite a bit. I wrestled at the Citadel at 150 pounds. So I have now gained 80 pounds since college, which granted, when I was 150 pounds, I was starving myself. But 30's nothing, man. 30's easy. So, all right, we will take a quick commercial break and we will be right back with Tony Wells in 30 seconds.
100 Miles for Hope is back, and we're taking it to the next level. This year, you could choose over 40 different activities and track your progress on a handy mobile app. We have sweet swag to commemorate your journey, including tech shirts, baseball caps, hoodies, pins, patches, and challenge coins. All proceeds from these purchases support veterans and military families through the Veterans and Children Foundation. Head to legion.org/100 miles to get started.
All right, we're rejoining Tony Wells, who we've been talking to about USAA and all the good things they're doing for veterans and active duty military and everything else. And we are up again with round 2 from Ashley.
Okay. So I feel like I'm getting all of the more serious questions. So I'm just going to keep on that. I'm the inquisitive one. They make fun of me all the time, Tony. They're just like, you're such a nerd. And I am a big nerd and I just embrace that. So one of the things I wanted to ask you is, 2020 has been a very trying year for a lot of folks. And I wanted to talk a little bit about USAA and, the promotion of diversity and inclusion, when racial tensions have been, just at a peak in valley, but have really kind of come to full center, not that they were not at any point not important, right? But like people are paying attention, and how is USAA, utilizing both diversity and inclusion, both training or in your marketing, and how are you helping people come together?
Yeah. So thanks for that question. I think following the murder of George Floyd, I think everybody in corporate America kind of went and looked a little bit in the mirror around, hey, what are we doing here? For me, what I felt and observed is that we had a lot of teammates who were carrying a lot of rocks in their pack, and no one knew it. They didn't feel the burden, and you want to go to work every day and be at your best. And we've laid out here, our CEO, Wayne Peacock, has said, hey, we want every employee to be able to live up to their full potential. And so for us, we kind of re-examined our efforts on DEI and really looked at it through three lenses. The first, how's this impacting our employees? Do they have opportunities? Do we have programs to support their advancement? Are they feeling like they can be their authentic selves when they show up to work? Do they feel like they're included and they belong? And so we are doing lots of work to assess that in our organization, because if you show up and you feel like you don't really belong or you can't be who you are, then you're not, I don't think you're prepared to do your best work. Second, we looked at members. How are we communicating to members? Is it relevant? And in particular, when we look at gender and we look at multicultural, are USA messages reaching those individuals in a way that feels like it connects with them? Because if our marketing isn't connecting with women, if it isn't connecting with people of color, those with individuals with disabilities, LGBTQ, like we want to make sure those messages connect. And we're doing a lot to measure that and prepare for that. And then the last thing would be just the communities in which we operate. We want to be a good corporate citizen. And so we're looking at our supplier diversity, making sure that that has veteran-owned businesses, women-owned businesses of people of color, and also asset and investment management, our corporate development, which looks for new ventures and innovations. And then I would say finally, our corporate responsibility area, how we're giving money to worthy nonprofits to help advance opportunities for income, education, or wealth gaps. So it is I feel like it's a very comprehensive program. We've got lots of work to do. We're not perfect. And I think every day we get up just trying to be a little bit better in this space. And I also think it's important that as we look at this, that people don't view this as the pie is getting smaller or someone's taking your piece of the pie. Like a rising tide, raises all boats. And so we're trying to grow the pie, make sure there's room underneath the tent for everyone, and I mean everyone, to understand why this is good. And when a teammate wins or gets training or has an opportunity to be their authentic self and live up to their potential, that's good for me too, because I'm on their team. So anyway, long-winded answer there, but we are very, very committed, and we know that this is important to the military community, and the military community is wrestling with it too. And when I was a Marine, it used to be a joke, hey, there's not a black Marine or white Marine, like we're all green. And that was great at the time, but it also kind of looks past the issue that we do need to address how we can make sure that everybody feels like they belong. So there you go.
That's fantastic. Long-winded. That's my style, Tony. So it's like we just became instant besties. So I'm just saying everything you said is great.
You might not invite me back on this podcast because I get 5-minute answers. But
no, you're fine. I'm sure we could do a whole separate podcast episode with Mark Seavey just asking you about your time at the Naval Academy and sports, and he'll probably trail off into something about Lord of the Rings, or I don't know. I don't know what your personal hobbies are, Tony, but I'm sure we could have you back on. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying.
I'm still trying to get over that he wrestled at 150 pounds.
I know, me too, right? We love you, Mark.
I was 6'1", and in high school I wrestled at 140. So that'll tell you I was not the most filled out individual. I'm probably the only guy ever who went to basic training and gained like 50 pounds. Like it was like, I was like 3 meals a day. Are you kidding me? This is the greatest thing ever.
That's how I was. I gained muscle there. I was like, I came back like 125 pounds of solid muscle. And I was like, well, this will only probably last like a year or two.
Yeah.
Just playing.
All right, Jeff, you are up, buddy. Round 2.
All right, Tony, you're pretty safe when you talk about being long-winded and coming back to the show, because they would have got rid of me a long time ago. Example incoming. So just to be safe to Ashley, or to be fair to Ashley, I call both of them nerds. They're all over the Game of Thrones, and I mean I like Game of Thrones too, but they like Game of Thrones. And also I find it a little insulting that you're talking about gaining 30 pounds since you played basketball. I've gained 30 pounds since March of 2020. I mean, it's been
COVID weight.
Oh yeah, COVID-19, my butt. I'm working on the COVID 2025. So let's get back to learning about Tony. So I want to kind of bridge between your pre-USAA life and your USAA life. So you were in the Marine Corps, URA, Semper Fi, all that, and you played basketball at a high Division I level. And how did those experiences come together in your business career, making you better at what you do?
Yeah, I say there are 2 defining things that have impacted me for my business career, and that was being a Marine officer, and then being a college athlete. And I'll start first with the sports one, which is that at the Naval Academy, it's pretty rare to get a 7'1" center, but he's still only one player. I love him, but he's still only one player, and there's a team around him. And for the most part, just like with Navy football, you're not, when you get to D1 sports, athleticism across the line is just off the chart. And so you have to execute better if you're a service academy. Like, you have to be flawless in your execution, the blockouts, passing, turnovers, rebound. Like, you have to be a fundamentally sound. And so that really is informed as I've gone through my business career around this idea of execution and doing the small things well. And so you're kind of, that's drilled into you. And then I think, my time in the Marine Corps really around this idea of know yourself, know your job, know your people. And when you do all 3 of those really well, things tend to fall in place. And, that old thing, like when if you sweat in peacetime, you bleed less in war. So just the hard work, knowing yourself, knowing your people. And, it's my first gunnery platoon sergeant taught me that. It's like, hey, don't worry, we'll get this done, but you're going to know your people, you're going to know your job, and you're going to know yourself. So it's just stuck with me.
Nice. And I know that David Robinson in the NBA, he was nicknamed the Admiral. You went Marine Corps option, so at work in the break room, are they calling you the General? Or
no, they were not calling me.
They're not calling you.
No. They may have called me Butterbar, but they weren't calling me the General.
All right, there you go, Mr. Seavey.
Well, I also learned a lot from my Division I career. I learned that I could be beat up on any city in the East Coast, because I'm pretty sure I got whooped in every single major city on the East Coast. So I moved to the Midwest and went to law school, but it is what it is. USAA is obviously, that you have a lot of competitors, but it's almost as if you have, I don't want to say a monopoly, but you guys occupy a big space within the veteran community with the things that you do. What is it you think it's about USAA that sort of brings everyone in? Is it just the fact that you are exclusive to those folks, or is it something else you bring to the table for veterans and active duty?
Yeah, look, the company was started by the military, for the military. And, the story is that a bunch of Army officers got together and they couldn't get insurance because the normal insurance companies viewed them as being too risky. And so from that moment, we're coming up next year, we'll be 100 years old. It's really around forming and developing products and services that are unique to the military community. And, we developed that with the mindset that we want to reduce any chance that military members focused or worried about their finances, that we give competitive rates and know what it takes to ensure their financial security. So I just think in many regards, there are a lot of other brands, a lot of competitors out there. I don't know if they build their product and service with the military in mind. And I'll give you 2 examples. We were the first major brand to use 800 numbers on a international basis, because we knew service members were deployed around the world and they wanted to talk to someone about an issue, like they didn't want to have to load a bunch of quarters into a payphone, which no one knows what a payphone is anymore. But or remote deposit capture. So when you take your mobile phone and you deposit a check, well, we invented that technology. We did it because we knew members were getting checks and like mailing them in, like they want to get their funds as quickly as possible. So a lot of our innovation has been around trying to make it easier for service members, because we know they have a very complicated life, lots of deployment, time away from home, often in different parts of the world, and we want to make that a better experience.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is normally where we would say, where do we steer people to find you? But I think most people are going to know how to find USAA. It shouldn't be too difficult for them. But
yeah, Mark, what I would say is that I think there are a lot of veterans who don't even realize that they're eligible, because eligibility has changed over the years. It was originally formed as an officer only, and so we've opened that up. And if you're a veteran, please check in. And the good thing is you don't necessarily have to get a product. If you call up and say, hey, I'm a veteran, I want to establish membership, the great thing about that is it allows you to ensure you and your family members going forward are eligible for membership, because you've come in and established a member number and given us all the key information so that we can validate your eligibility. So we're still trying to spread the word. We track this from a brand tracking perspective, and we still have about 50% of actively serving members who currently serving members who don't know that they're eligible for membership, because they just haven't been told or haven't seen some of our marketing. So we have work to do, and we're super thankful to serve. We like to say we think we have the best customers in the world, and obviously the American Legion is a key stakeholder for us in building bridges with the veteran population.
yeah, and we certainly appreciate it. As Jeff noted, you guys always have a great display at conventions, so kind of looking forward to it. And I've had the ability to go out with some of the USAA people that are there, and it's always a fun time. So we appreciate.
I haven't been to the, I've got to get out this year, so we'll see if I can get out of San Antonio and head to the conference.
Yeah,
at least you'll be used to the heat.
Right.
Yeah.
From San Antonio to Phoenix.
It was 116 in Phoenix yesterday, so we might have to get some beverages to cool the body temperature down. Only that reason, of course, but might have to get something. So Tony, we appreciate you taking time. We know how busy you are, and so we very much appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us today.
Well, again, Ashley, Mark, Jeff, I appreciate you having me, USA, on the podcast. You guys at Legion just do an unbelievable job supporting and servicing veterans. We are completely in line with that mission statement. And so, again, wish you guys a safe summer as we head into it, and excited to see kind of America opening back up. And if there are members of the Legion or veterans out there that want a trusted brand to help them with financial services, please give us the honor of serving you. So thank you very much.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much, Tony, and everybody else. We will be back in 30 seconds.
The American Legion is Veterans Strengthen America. We're in your community, supporting veterans, service members, and their families, enriching the lives of young people, and promoting citizenship and patriotism. Our members are passionate about these core values. Help strengthen America by joining the American Legion today. For more information, go to legion.org/join.
All right, so we have talked to Tony now, and Ashley, what's your big takeaway?
So towards the end, he said something very, very poignant. And, you know, as far as like eligibility goes and folks not always necessarily knowing like what services or, you know, what all encompasses, right, USAA, I feel like there's a lot of like, it's like, I feel like we're passing the time because like, I feel like that's kind of the onion, the magical onion of the American Legion, right? Like there are so many folks out there that don't know that they're eligible to be a part of all of the awesomeness that we have, right? So like us as an organization, I think there's a lot of parallels, and I thought Tony is a great, you know, representation of like, you know, second service and continuing forward to really help and you know, improve and encourage our community. So it was really nice to have him on.
Jeff?
I really enjoyed hearing about the innovation that they have employed over the years, starting with bypassing the payphone for people overseas. It just shows the way that they improvise, adapt, and overcome to create excellent customer service experience for those who are serving, which is where it really, really shines in doing things to make, while you're in the complicated life of serving, better, but also for veterans for the rest of their lives, because there's some innovations, not just on the technological, physical side of interacting with a financial institution like USAA, but the understanding of veterans as a customer is really impressive. And I enjoyed hearing about the back end of those kinds of things. And it wasn't just a happy accident. There's some people putting a lot of thought into it.
Yeah, so my thought was a little bit like Ashley's. I was trying to look for something, but the American Legion and USA do have sort of a lot in common outside of just who we represent. But one of the things that always is tough for me with the Legion is when somebody just cold says to you, why should I be a member of the Legion? And it, you know, we've talked about it before. It's like, how much time do you have? Like we are so diversified that we have things all over the place. USA is kind of the same way. Like they used to be, in my mind, were just an insurance company, and now they're investment and banking and all these other ancillary things. So they probably have some of the, you know, same hurdles that we do, where they're involved in so many things. You have to market, you know, based on what the person is looking for, as opposed to what you have to offer. So I think it's great to hear from someone from USA like that, and he's obviously a pretty sharp cat. So it was fun talking to him. All right, folks, remember to subscribe to Tango Alpha Lima on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And while you're there, write a review and rate us, preferably 5 stars. If you want to send us feedback, you can make a comment on YouTube or Facebook, especially about Ashley's microphone, which is our favorite comments. Or you can send us an email at tangoalphalima@legion.org. Jeff, Ashley, again, I will babysit your husband quite well. I will make sure he is in bed no later than 3 in the morning each night. So I promise to be good to him. Everybody else, we'll see you next week. Bye.